3, 2, 1, and...
Hello and welcome to A Gypsy's Kiss. I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby Younis. Stick with us a couple of seconds and we'll talk about those embarrassing walks of shame coming back from boots on the ground. And Lord knows I have had a bunch of those.
Also, a walk of shame of, oops, we started a little early accidentally and didn't even realize our camera was on. So
didn't know what
we
was
erased
going on there.
that. Yeah. I hope that we didn't disturb anybody's connection with this show in doing so. Sorry. We didn't know the camera was on. I was like, wait, why are we on?
It looks like we still need a few seconds worth of delay. So what's happening today is that we're restreaming this program. So it's going to two locations. It's going to our YouTube channel and it's going to Facebook, our Facebook group.
The page.
The Facebook page.
Because Restream didn't want to send it to the group for some reason.
So and so what happens is this is going a couple of other places, right? It's got to go to Restream.io and then to the other ones. And there's a bit of delay between the time we start and the time that you see the beginning. So I just noticed that you started watching us in the middle of our conversation. So anyway, that's what happened. So today we want to talk about boots on the ground and your experiences. And I want to tell you some experiences that I've had, and I want to hear when we open up the phone lines some experiences that you've had. If you do want to talk in this subject and you want to make sure that we talk to you, please send me a text message to 866-597-9901 that says, please call me. And that way I will make sure that we call you from there, because your phone number comes through on all your calls anyway. If not, we'll just open up the phone lines, and that way anybody can call. But if you want to make sure that you have commentary on this and that you want to talk about it, just let us know. So let me do some housekeeping first.
Housekeeping, you want to?
So before you leave today, make sure you like this video. YouTube likes it when you like our videos. It lets them think that we're doing really, really good, and we think we're doing really, really good. Also, share this video with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your business associates, and everyone on your social networks that you would think might have an interest. And last but not least, in my case, if you're not already a subscriber, this would be a good time to subscribe. And when you see that notifications bell, click on the notifications bell. And that way, when we start a stream, even accidentally, or we announce a stream, you will be immediately informed. Praise the Lord.
And we can grow.
And
be in the know.
And last but not least.
And don't forget that stylized dollar sign at the bottom of the chat. Should you like to have your comment or question highlighted in a beautiful box. And Super Chat Challenge will be announced every time somebody donates to our Super Chat. And another way that we will see your comment more easily is if you start it with @A-Gypsy's Kiss, like Greg Keller always does. He's a great little example for us. So make sure you start your comment and question with the same way Greg does, so then we'll make sure to see it. Otherwise, if you want to send us a message and you want to make sure we're going to see it, send it text to 866-597-9901. You can also leave a voicemail in between shows, and we do open up the phone lines on all of our shows whenever possible, and that is the number you would call as well.
And by the way, we're going to answer all the questions that pop up in the room that we can see or that we get. You can send a text message with your question to, again, our phone number, 866-597-9901. But we'll try to answer all the questions we get relating to this topic. We deal with open topics on the evening shows tonight at 7 p.m. We'll, of course, have Fandango. But we want to make sure you understand it's not necessary to give us Super Chat in order to ensure your questions are being asked. Super Chat is voluntary and not required. And
we appreciate everything we get, and even emails and text messages and voicemails. We appreciate all of it. So,
as a matter of fact,
because everything you do to connect with us helps us stay connected.
one of the benefits of you guys sending us Super Chat.
Yeah.
I'll open this box tonight. I received
Box
it today.
opening.
I've talked about it for a couple of days now.
Toys.
And, it came out today, and this is what we've spent your Super Chat on. So, and it's going to improve our product again.
Yes.
And then last but not least, I wanted to announce, I know that on their show last night, Christy and Mike said that they were planning a June 15th marathon, second marathon.
Little $5 Super Chat challenge from Copper Dan.
Copper
Because he
Dan.
cares. Thank you for caring, Copper Dan.
Thank you for carrying Copper Dan. And so Christy and Mike mentioned on their show last night that they were going to be launching a marathon on June 15th. We have agreed, they have asked, and we have agreed to join them on that chat marathon. So you're actually going to be able to see that chat marathon in 3 locations. You'll be able to see it, the same marathon. You'll see it on Cal Lazar's YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel, and our Facebook page. So you'll have 3 ways to view that. I've agreed to do the entire 10 hours. Shelley, because she has commitments on weekends with her family, has agreed to do part of it. And we'll try and get her in.
And maybe we can get another guest or 2 in on it. Local guests.
Local guests. Oh, interesting. If our local guest is back, she may not be back.
That's true.
So. And Copper Roberts is in the room. Hi, Copper.
Hey.
We haven't seen you in a while.
Couple of Coppers.
Nice to have you back.
Yeah.
So let's talk about today's subject. And again, I'm going to open up the phone lines in just a few minutes after I have my, what do you call it? After I
don't know what you were going for there.
well, the word the thing that I do that when I talk too much.
Oh, pontificate?
Yeah. So I'm going to have my little
Or bloviate is another good one.
Yeah, I'm going to have my short pontification / bloviation here for just a minute, and then we'll open up the phone lines. But again, if you want me to call you, text me to 866-597-9901 and say, please call me, so that you can enter, so that you can participate in the conversation. Phone lines are closed right now. So here's our thoughts on this matter. And I'm speaking from experience. So I've been boots on the ground 32 times. Shelley has been boots on the ground the last 11 of those times. Kevin has been boots on the ground 6 of those times. Jason was involved in the first 2. So you can add up all of those boots on the ground, but I'm only going to speak from my experience with the 32 boots on the ground. And that is, it is mind and heartbreaking when it happens. And you have to, thankfully for us, and I'm sure it may be this true for other people that have longer drives, we've got a 3-hour drive from any place in New Mexico, sometimes longer in Colorado and Wyoming, to think about all of that. And one of the benefits that I have that I didn't have in my first 21 boots on the ground was now I have Shelley with me. And having Shelley with me helps me come out of the dump that I fall into.
Because he's got to lift me up at that point.
Yeah. So it is in a way both emotionally and psychologically depressing. You start questioning everything that you've thought you knew and all the things that you've thought you've learned until this last time. And then the last time when we came back from our last recon, last of 6 recons in Rio de los Pinos in Colorado, I wasn't as depressed. I was actually feeling in pretty good spirits because we had a great time, the 3 of us. It was a week-long vacation. We used it for trout fishing. We did a lot of other things. And then we had a grand drive back. And the difference was after our last trip down the Rio de los Pinos and back, because it's a 45-minute hike, I started thinking about it, and I got realistic about where I was in all this. And the realism that I came to was I really don't know this poem. I don't really know the clues. They're still they're guesses. I don't even know if they're good guesses, but they are that. And I felt like I didn't have a handle on all of this, and that's when I decided I'm not going to search for this treasure again until I feel like I have a handle on this. And I came back with that decision. Shelley agreed because she and Kevin, for them, it's double the expense. They have to travel. They have to get hotel rooms when they go places. And it wasn't fair to them that I would I would continue to ask them to go out with me when I didn't have a better handle on what it was. And Shelley already had that experience with our trip to the John Donne Bridge, where as she stood there, I could feel the energy coming from her, and the energy was, what the hell are you talking about? You know, why are we here? And so I've had that experience now that many times, starting with my first one, the Rio Chama experience, where not only did we not find the treasure, but then we had kind of a semi-emergency situation that we got stuck there overnight due to the rain and not being able to get out of the valley. And but here's a point I want to make. Fenn has claimed there are 350,000 people looking for this treasure. And what I think he means by that partially is the number of times people have been looking out. And this is like a lottery in some ways. There are hundreds of millions of people that buy tickets, and there's only one winner. And then all the other of us are not losers. We just didn't win. And that's how this treasure hunt is going to be. Every boots on the ground until you find that treasure is going to elicit one of several things: psychological and emotional depression, disappointment, or a recognition that you weren't close that time. And by I mean close, I mean you're standing over the treasure. I'm not talking about 200 feet, 500 feet, because there's no way to know that unless you tell Fenn precisely where you've been, and he responds by saying, "Oh, heck, big boy, you were 200 feet away from the treasure." None of that has ever happened. Right? When Fenn referred to it, he referred to it in a generic sense. And if you did write and say, I was at these coordinates, and those coordinates were 200 feet away from where Fenn hid the treasure, I can guarantee you what you're not going to get in response is an email that says, hey, you were precisely 200 feet away, or 203 feet or whatever, away from the treasure. So we don't have that kind of support mechanism that tells us when we're getting close. So, and I'm going to go back to the things that he says. It's in the poem, it's in the book, and you have to figure out the clues, and you won't know you have the right warm water salt until you're actually looking down at the treasure. So here's the thing. In the case of this treasure hunt, every boots on the ground is going to be a negative boots on the ground until someone announces via the media or Forrest Fenn that the treasure has been found. So I think we have to get used to the idea of this kind of walk of shame. And Shelley and I, we've teased about it. You know, we have our list and we have our walk of shame video and things like that. But that's all in jest because we've all experienced it. And I guess what I'm trying to say is until that treasure is actually recovered, until someone resolves the clues in the poem, recovers the treasure, and announces it, whether anonymously or not, on the media or through Fenn, then every boots on the ground is a walk of shame. Every other of the hundreds, if not tens, if not hundreds of thousands of boots on the ground will result in not finding the treasure. And I think the minute you accept that, and I've learned to accept that, and part of accepting that is, okay, well, I don't want to experience any more walks of shame. What do I need to correct that? Well, what I need to correct that is to find the treasure. What do I need to correct that? What I need to correct that is come up with a resolution to the clues in the poem, which I still don't have, honestly. And I'm trying new ways to look at it, but the simple fact of the matter is, as of this moment, I still have no idea even where to start looking with any level of confidence that I'd be in the right location. So the question, just like the question that we had on Wednesday, what are you afraid of? The question that I have for you today, that we have for you today, is how is it that you, for those of you that have been boots on the ground, because I want to share this experience with those of you who haven't been boots on the ground, how have those of you who have been boots on the ground dealt with the disappointment of not returning with the treasure? And how do you get your head back up and into the thinking about continuing to look for that treasure? So that's what I want to talk about. And if you want to talk about it, give us a call. I have opened up the phone lines.
Oh.
What?
I guess I don't get to talk.
I'm sorry. I have closed the phone lines again.
My opinion doesn't matter.
Okay. No, it does matter, and I'm sorry. I was bloviating again.
All right. So I know I get very disappointed when I don't win. I don't find what I'm looking for. I don't know, even at home now, if somebody is looking for something, as a mom, I feel like I need to provide that, right? Mom, do we have any of this? Mom, where's that? You want to know the answer, right? Because that's what being a great mom is about. So not finding this treasure is like I failed. I can't find it. I don't know where it is. I can't provide this for my family. There's a sense of personal failure that comes along with that. Now, as a life coach, I'm taught to deal with failures and help other people through theirs as well. So that's something that we work on together. The best thing you can do, I believe, is understand that failure is just a word that means you've learned something. You've had an experience that you've learned from. It didn't go as you had planned, but at the same time, you have a new experience, a new story, a new part of your life that you're adding in. So all of that builds your character, builds your experience, builds you up as a person, depending on how you react to it, because it's all about your reactions. You have total control over how you react to any situation. Nobody else can tell you what to do or how to be. That's up to you. So when situations occur in your life, the way you react is a reflection of your character that you have built up over the years. And the more failures or disappointments or things that didn't go your way that you have bounced back from, the greater your resilience. And resilience is a huge character asset. People who are hiring for positions are really looking for resilience in people because they know that as a company, if you're working towards a goal and you don't hit your numbers, those people who don't have resilience will just give up. We're not going to make it, so why bother? Those people who cannot bounce back, do not have that resilience, are not as easily counted upon when the going gets tough. So we want to grow our resilience through a series of trial and error, learning experiences, failures and disappointments, and bouncing back from those with, quickly as we can, because everything in life is a gift. So if you go out there and you fail to find the treasure, try to find the gift in that. What did I learn? What happened that was positive in this experience? So that's my advice as a life coach to anybody who's going through these kinds of difficulties. We do have several people who said they were going to go look for the treasure this month, and I know that a lot of you are experiencing snow. Davio said he would probably delay his trip. Rudy Green was in the chat room. He said he'd already gone and experienced a lot of snow, so I'm going to let all of you who said you were going to find the treasure in May have a redo on that if you want to change it to another month, or if you just want to say too much snow this year, not going to find it, we'll just write that down next to your name, and we give you kudos for having tried. So that's something you can always count on with AGK, is that we're going to be here to sympathize, empathize, and commiserate with you when you have a failure or a disappointment in this regard. So you can always come here and hang out in our chat room, and we're not going to treat you bad because you didn't find it, because nobody's found it. So join the club.
So a couple of things. Why do I sound like I'm off again? A couple of things. Darcy, I noticed that you put your phone number in the room. Please, you guys, don't put your phone number in the room. That becomes public. If you want me to call you, send a text message to 866-597-9901 about, and I'll call you back to talk about this subject. So Bloop, the same is true. I do want to talk to you, but it sounds like you don't yet have boots on the ground experience. So I will call you tonight and we'll talk then. So this is, call me back, been boots on the ground. So 615, we're calling you back. He didn't give me, it's Rudy. So Rudy,
Rudy,
we're calling you back
and he said
right
he
now.
had snow. He talked about it in the chat room earlier.
Okay.
calling Rudy.
Calling Rudy. Rudy, calling Rudy. Caller's open line.
Hello, this is Rudy.
Hey, Rudy, this is Toby and Shelley. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the state of Tennessee.
Nice. So tell us and the audience how you avoid experiencing a walk of shame when you come back from Boots on the Ground. First, tell us about your most recent Boots on the Ground.
Well, I just went out searching. I was actually out in Montana on May the 14th. This is the first time I'd been out in 2 years because, kind of like yourselves, I realized the scope of the search after a few searches and realized that I was going to need something really compelling to spend the money to go out hunting again. Mm-hmm. And I jumped the gun a little. There is a tremendous amount of snow still up there. I got up to the spot that it was me and a couple of friends that had agreed to join me in my grand delusion. We got up to the spot and it was anywhere from 0 to 4 feet of snow. Approximately 8,000 feet elevation, a little south of Big Sky, Montana. So it wasn't a complete disappointment in the sense that I was not able to disprove the theory, which is something I'm always looking to do. It's a lot of times you go out and you see things that are very different than you expected beforehand. I've gotten a lot better at imagining what Google Earth will look like in real life compared to the first 2 trips from several years ago. So just going to delay the next trip until June or July when I can be a little more assured that there won't be snow covering the spot. And it was a little disappointing, like standing there and thinking, okay, this might be right, but you know, the snow there is like in the process of melting. It's like shaved ice. It's really, you can't even dig through it hardly. Mm-hmm. So even though the blaze that I had identified was pretty small, it wasn't even realistic to try to dig around there and hunt. So we turned around and went back and spent a few days in the national parks and flew home.
So you flew into what city?
To Bozeman, Montana.
And then rented a vehicle?
So my search area is a little south of Big Sky. And I don't mind telling people that because I don't think that's going to help you get.
It's a great big area.
It's covered in snow.
So if
you're searching above like 7,000 feet, there's still a lot of snow out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how did your friends respond to all of this?
Well, one of them had accompanied me on one of my previous trips in 2017. And that was my second trip, but his first. And so I think the first trip is where you really get the disappointment out of the way. My first trip I did solo, and I got there and I knew within 30 minutes I was completely wrong. Nothing lined up the way I expected. And that was really the only one that was painful for me. Mm-hmm. And subsequent ones haven't been as much. But I had one friend with me who had searched with me previously, and so he had kind of gotten over that hump as well, too. And yeah, we considered it a enjoyable trip and got a little more feel for the territory since this is a completely new spot for me. And as far as the positive element of that is I can go, all the clues still lined up the way I expected them to. So the location still feels good.
And are they as smitten by the treasure hunt as you, or are they more neutral? They go with you because they enjoy your company versus they go with you because they think they're going to inherit, find a $1 million treasure?
They're coming along because they enjoy hiking and camping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's okay. That's a good reason. I think that's one of the things that we should all consider, if for members of your family that aren't as enthusiastic about looking for a treasure as you are, go to some place where they can enjoy themselves doing other things besides trekking through the mountains. Although I think for a lot of families, if they hadn't had the experience and they do go trekking through the mountains, it in of itself is a grand experience, especially if they haven't done it before. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I pitched it to them that way too, is going, hey, we're going to go out, we're going to spend the day searching, and then we have we probably statistically will not find a treasure, but it would be nice. And then we have 4 days to go explore the parks, and we went over to Wyoming and visited Yellowstone and Grand Tetons, and they had never seen those parks before, so that obviously was a good consolation prize in lieu of finding a treasure chest.
So you said you were going to try one more time this summer?
Yes, I would like Shelley can update it's going to be either June or July. I've got to figure it out with my work schedule. So put me down for July, because for certain by then I'll have gone back out there.
Okay.
And something that actually happened uniquely, I was leaving out of the Bozeman airport, and they were overbooked on the flight, and so they were offering credit to people who would fly out the next morning instead. So I took United Airlines up on that, and they gave me $700 in flight credit.
Wow.
So I can make at least 2 more trips out for free.
Very good.
Well, that actually worked out, sort of.
Yeah. That's a nice way to look at the positive of all this. I get my next 2 trips paid by United. So, yeah, that was great. Very, very wise. All right, sir. Well, thank you for sharing your experience with us. Good luck in your search in July. And I hope everybody takes to heart this warning about the snow not being anywhere near its normal melt. It was a bigger snow season. We know it here in New Mexico because we're experiencing the runoff right now.
Yeah, and I can see snow on the top of the Santa Fe Mountains.
Right, yeah. So Santa Fe is
there's
45 miles north of us and 100 or so miles south of our search area, and the mountains in Santa Fe are still covered with snow, and I know the mountains in Taos are as well. So we didn't have a normal snow season this year. We had a bigger snow season.
Yes, there's a lot of snow out there, and you want to be optimistic and go, oh, the spot I'm looking doesn't have any snow. Yes, it does. Only about a 3-month search season in the upper Rockies.
Anyway,
so I think the perimeter of summer is really the best time to be out searching.
Yeah, and if you're not certain about your area, find a location, either a national forest or a national park nearby your planned search location. Call them. It's a good investment. Call them and ask them what they think the situation is in their area, because I've done that in the past. Our search area is Carson National Forest. I know there's a National Forest office at Tres Piedras, and I consistently call them to ask about the weather up there. They don't have any problem. They want you to be as safe as you can be. So feel free to call them and ask them. Tell them that you'd like to make a trip out, and how's the snow level. So
it's a very good idea.
All right, Rudy, thank you for calling, sir. We look forward to hearing from you after your next search. And anytime you see a topic that you have some input for, please feel free to call us. We like talking to you.
I will do that. Can you call me back?
And say hello to your friends for us.
I'll pass it on. I've told them to watch the show, although
good.
I'm not sure that they are.
Hi, guys, if you are watching the show. Okay, so that was Rudy. And Copper Dan asked us to call him back, so let's call Copper Dan, see what he has to say. This is Dan Hedblum. You guys know him as Copper Dan.
Blum,
and you saw Blum, I'm sorry. And you saw the gift of the Canyon Down, the gift that he sent us, he and his wife.
Copper art piece.
Copper art piece, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. Did we get forwarded? Voicemail?
That sounded forwarded, didn't it? I'm trying to kill the ringing sound further.
Maybe he's on the phone with someone else.
Yeah, it's going to go to voicemail. I'm trying to keep the ringing sound down because I don't have control over this one except on the board.
Oh, well.
Well, let's leave him a voicemail at least.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're having a phone problem. Like sometimes I call you and it just keeps ringing and ringing, and you're like saying hello, hello, and you don't hear me. It's really weird.
You think he's doing that? Copper down.
Bad connection thing.
He can't hear you. All right. Well, we tried. We'll try him again later. Let me see what I've got here. Outgoing. On our Queen. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, there is a lot of snow in the mountains right now. Anything in the area above 7,000 feet is most likely covered in snow in the Rocky Mountains.
Is this Darcy? Let me call Darcy.
It has been cold, raining, windy for the past couple of weeks in the Rocky Mountain states. So just be aware.
So I'm going to call Darcy back. Let's see what he's got to say. Darcy's in Canada, and I can't call him back. I just got an error. Calls are only available to U.S. numbers. Darcy, I'm sorry. So when I open up the phone lines, Darcy, I didn't realize that SmartLine doesn't support Canadian callers. But when I open up the phone lines, try calling in to me. I've got a couple of other. It's Julie from Olympia. Let's call Julie.
Hello, this is Julie.
Hi, Julie. This is Toby and Shelley from a Gypsy Kiss. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm fine. Hi, Toby. Hi, Shelley.
Hello.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Washington State.
Nice. So how do you overcome the depression associated with boots on the ground failure?
I think there's a couple of tricks. One was I was lucky enough to be traveling with my 2 teenage kids. So it was more than simply a boots on the ground trip. We made it a little mini vacation.
And, I know teenagers can be at that age obtuse at best. So how did they feel about you chasing down probably in their case, an imaginary treasure?
My daughter is very supportive, and my son was kind of like, this is crazy.
Well, yeah, that doesn't strike me as unusual for children of that age and this era. So can you tell us a little bit about what area you were in, maybe just the state and when you were there and what kind of things you found?
Yeah, I was in New Mexico, not too far north of Santa Fe, and I actually did 2 boots on the ground at the same location, one a year ago in April, and then I went back by myself in October because I had to convince myself that it really wasn't there and I was wrong. And then after the second time, I was like, okay, it really isn't here. It was almost like breaking up. I look at it as breaking up with somebody you're in love with, and you have to just get away from it all. And so I didn't do anything for about 3 months. I didn't engage at all with the treasure hunt for about 3 months. And then when I picked it up again, I had a brand new attitude, and I decided to throw everything out that I had thought I knew and kind of start over.
And but you're prepared now to head out for another potential boots on the ground?
Yeah, now I'm in love again, and I have another location, and this weather is killing me this year, and I just made a decision to wait probably till the end of July.
Yeah, I think by July we should be finished not only with the snowmelt but the runoff associated with it. So if you're near any rivers, I was hoping to go trout fishing this weekend, and I called the what is that national park up at Pilar? There's a national park or national or BLM site up near Pilar, New Mexico, and I called him and I asked him how the river height was, and he said, well, if you're looking for class 5 rapids, perfect. Like, no, I'm too old for class 5 rapids. So it's like that throughout the state, and we can see it, of course. The Rio Grande comes through Albuquerque and right near me in Bernalillo, and although it's not over its high water banks, all-time high water banks, it's real full, and it's moving in this way that you can tell it's carrying a lot of silt and dirt in it. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend anybody going out there. Britt, so I noticed Britt Chaser, Britt, I know that you're planning to come out in August. All of that should be done by then, unless we have a very rainy season, and then that creates a whole new set of problems. Huh?
Yeah.
So, so when will you be back, do you think? Well, I guess I'm assuming, are you coming back to New Mexico?
No, I now have a different state.
Oh, okay,
So
all right.
it's one of the other three.
Yeah. Well, there's one thing that we know about that trip. It's going to be a shorter drive from Washington than it was to New Mexico.
Yeah, that's one of the good things about it.
So-
But I'm in love with New Mexico, just myself, regardless of the treasure hunt. So I always love going in New Mexico.
Yeah, we like it too. So how do your kids feel about this next trip?
I think only my daughter, the supportive one, is going to be coming with me next time.
So what's your
I think my son's opting out.
what's your son's name?
His name is Andrew.
Andrew. So this is from Toby and Shelley. Even though you may not want to go with your mother because it all sounds crazy to you, she needs your support, and she needs you out there in the woods with her in case anything bad happens. Although I'm sure her daughter is just as capable, but you should go with her. It's a grand adventure for no other reason. So let's see if we can talk him into it. And I think it's a good thing for young men. I think, well, for all kids, but I think it's especially for young men because it gives them a perspective they don't otherwise get. And sometimes it's just enough to hook them into that love of the outdoors that you hope that they have, and so that they can pass it on to their children, your grandchildren. So let us know how it goes when you go. We like that you watch our show, but make sure that when you come back from your next trip, you give us a call. Let us know how it went. We'd love to hear about it.
I will. I definitely will.
All right. You take care and hi to your kids. Tell them to watch the show.
Okay. Thanks. Love your show. You guys are great.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
So last year we went up at the end of April, and at 10,000 feet, there was one of our roads that we needed to drive down was blocked with snow and ice, but it was gone by mid-May. This year, we've had more snow, and it's come later in the year. So we can never be 100% sure when it's going to be gone. But mid-June is usually a good bet for, at least for New Mexico, and probably the lower elevations in the other states.
Colorado, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but the best months are late July and throughout August because your water runoff is not going to be as heavy. You should have no chance of snow really, unless it's extremely weird weather.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I would encourage most people to do if you're planning a trip. If you can go in July or August, or even early September, those are probably your best bets. Weather-wise.
So back in the early 80s, I did a lot of mountain climbing in Colorado, the 14ers, and I have photographs. I have one particular photograph on top of Mount Elbert, which is the tallest mountain in Albuquerque, in Colorado, and it was taken on August 3rd. And the reason I remember that date is August 3rd is my brother's Vincent's birthday. And we are sitting on the top of Elbert with a couple of my friends, and there is snow around us right on the top there. So you can still have snow at the higher elevations, but at the elevations we're considering, that area between 5,000 and 10,200 feet, the snow should be gone unless it's been an abhorrently bad winter and an even worse summer. But like I said, at the beginning of this week, the Sandia Mountains outside my window here in Albuquerque at 5,800 feet were covered in snow. At least they were covered in frost. So,
and we can only see the west side, which
Right.
is the side that would have the least amount of snow.
right, exactly. So just check before you go out. Call the nearest National Forest office, the nearest National Park office, and if it's a state like in Cimarron, where Cimarron Canyon is a state park, call that state park. They do call back because their prime concern is your safety, the safety of you and your family.
So we're
So-
asking that the phone lines be opened.
Hang on just a sec. I've got a call back. I got a couple of callbacks. One of whom is our friend. Oh, he's at a different number, so let's call that number. Call back. And wait. Okay, let me go back here.
Very complicated. trying to do these new technology things. I was watching a webinar yesterday, and he was broadcasting in two places, one on YouTube and one called Click Meetings or something like that. And he was having a lot of glitches because he was first time using all the products. And I was like, every time we come up with new equipment or new software, we have to go through glitches. So we understand.
Hello.
Hey, Joel, is this the right number? Because I'm not getting it on my screen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Hi.
Like, I guess I shouldn't say yeah. I don't know what you're asking. The right number.
The right number.
But you got me.
This is the number you wanted us to
This
call.
is the number you want us to call on. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, how are you doing?
Again, better than I deserve.
Oh, how nice. But deserved by whom? Who makes that judgment?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, what can you tell us about your? I'm not going to use the word failed. I don't like the word failed. Your boots on the ground experiences and coming back from them.
Yeah, if you don't think about that possibility before you go, it's already too late. So in other words, like managing expectations, right? It's all about managing expectations. If all you're doing is thinking about what you're going to do after you find it, and you never actually think about the possibility that you're not going to, then the evidence and experiences all seem to indicate you're probably going to come back without it. So if your expectation is only that you're going to, then you're only going to have unmet expectations, which is going to result in, well, I have to explain all of that. But, my thing is, I think that how you go about doing it, and when I say it, looking for the chest matters in that if you go by yourself and you're spending a bunch of money and then you don't find it, you're going to get disappointed. And that's why, like, I try to bring my family. We try to have fun with it. And we, keep a positive attitude. The last thing I want is to be driving back and my kids just remembering how sad Daddy was,
Yeah.
like, because the fact is, I mean, I think, Shelley, weren't you saying, like, always looking on trying to find the positive? Like, what can I, what can I learn from this? And, I think Forrest kind of even, clues us into that in, like, the meta narrative, like the messages of what he's trying to convey from his life. The wisdom he's trying to impart in the way that his father and other people imparted wisdom to him is not to expect too much of yourself, and to keep a positive outlook, and to try to find what you can learn from those failed situations. This from the guy that said hi to a cowboy who came over and punched him in the nose, and said, "What can I learn from this?" I mean, that's a pretty good example of an attitude to have.
Well, somebody in the room, Pirate 45, just said optimistic realism. And I used to coach girls' soccer teams, and I tell them that you've got to take risks, and you've got to hope for the best, and that winning builds confidence, losing builds character, and that you have to expect you have to hope to win, but expect the possibility of a loss. And I think that makes them, if I could get back and kind of exhibit the attitude that those girls exhibited, and I used to make fun of it, because my daughter, of course, would return with me from all these games, whether we won or lost, and I'd be in a total depression over the loss, and they're all in the back seat of the SUV going, "When are we going to get to the ice cream store, Mr. Y?" Like, for them, it was like, okay, well, that's over.
That was just a thing we did.
Yeah. So,
exactly.
So I think that optimism, that sense of optimism, is a good thing to have, but then you have to temper it with the reality of the evidence, and that is hundreds of thousands of not finding the treasure. And again, I'm going to stop using the word failure. It's not failure. as a risk taker, I know that part of taking risks is that you're more likely to fail than you are to succeed, but it's those successes that take you to the next, going to the next, whatever that risk
But
is.
it's those failures that teach you how to succeed.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
What's your
Shelley.
Thomas?
Absolutely.
What's your Thomas Edison thing?
Oh, I now know 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
Yeah, I know 32. I know 32. At least 32 ways not to find that damn treasure. So when are you going out next?
We do have plans to go out sometime this summer. I think it's like end of August. But don't put me on your list.
Okay.
I'm not claiming to be.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm torn because you need to have a certain degree of confidence to even, motivate yourself to go out and look where you think it might be, right? So there's that aspect. But then I would encourage people, I think a lot of people try to hold everything really close to the vest,
Right.
which I think is fine. They don't want to give away the secrets to $1 million treasure. I understand that. But at the same time, if you can't tell somebody so that you can get their honest opinion, I think you're really missing out on something from having another perspective on it. So you guys are search partners, so there's that aspect. So if something doesn't make sense, you can point out and say, well, what about this? Because it's really easy in your own mind to just totally discount that stuff and to gloss over it. And if you can run that by somebody in advance, I think that's a good way to help manage those expectations and to realize maybe even before you go that there's more flaws than you realized in your theory.
Well, I have always enjoyed listening to your perspective on these matters because they are very wise and informed and educated. And I know you've thought about these things.
Pulled the wool over your eyes.
Spoken like the man that I just described. So
Don't forget humble.
And humble, yeah, very humble, very humble.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate what you do for the community, and I'll let someone else give their advice now.
All right, thank you for calling in, Joe. We appreciate it.
Have a good afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I just want to mention that I'm seeing a lot of support and a lot of caring going on in our chat room today. So I really appreciate you guys doing that
on our
for each other and for us as well. Stop interrupting me.
I don't know how that snuck in there. So that was my fault. I'm sorry.
Okay. So what are we doing now? Because we have 10 minutes, and if you don't open the phone lines, then we can't get a hold of the Canadian person.
Copper Dan asked me to try one more time. He says, for some reason, it does not ring on my end. Feel free to try again. Okay, Copper. Dan, we are doing it right now.
Yep.
Let's see if we reach him this time.
Okay. Without failure, there is no triumphant.
Capro wants us to play that video of the time we came back from...
You can watch it. It's still on our
it's still
channel.
there. It's still painfully there.
Yeah, it's in our 2018 vlogs.
So there we are ringing. So Copper Dan, I'm ringing up the 507 number. So
if we don't get him now, we can try back again this evening.
Hello?
Please leave your message for
Voicemail. Hello, it's voicemail. We don't want to give out his phone number on the air.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So
Okay.
hang on. Let me just make sure that's his number.
So I just wanted to point out something that Point B has said. Make sure you're in good physical shape before you go wandering around the Rocky Mountains, especially at high altitudes. And the very best way to get in shape is to eat highly nutritious meals, including lots and lots and lots of vegetables. So I just want to point that out, that you get into good shape and you get healthy through what you eat more than any exercise you do. Walking's great, just keeps you mobile, keeps you active, but what you eat is the most important thing for staying fit and getting healthy.
So, Dan, we just tried again. It went to voicemail. I'm not sure why. It was the number, as you started to hear on that, it was the number that we called. So I'm going to open up the phone lines. And
Darcy.
Darcy is not a female. Darcy is a male.
Oh.
So we know him. He's been a longtime searcher from Canada. So let's give Darcy a chance. I'm opening up the phone lines right now. So if you want to call in, Darcy, this would be a good time to do it. Dan, if you would like to call in, and let's see if we can figure out why we can't get to you. So.
Yeah, and if we can't get you now, we'll try again tonight.
Okay, this is Darcy.
All right.
Hey, Darcy, this is Toby and Shelley. You've reached us. Where are you calling from, and what are your thoughts on this matter of boots on the ground depression?
Uh-oh.
Darcy, what the?
What happened?
We went through all of that.
I guess that was their idea of depression. Like, I don't want to talk about it.
Let's try it again. One more time. Okay. Hey, you've reached Toby and Shelley. Who's calling and where are you calling from?
Oh, it's Darcy. I thought I got your voicemail there. Sorry about that.
No, that's me. I just sound good all the time. It sounds like my voicemail. Darcy, make sure you turn your computer in the background off so we don't get any feedback.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
I've turned it off. You got my full attention now.
Okay, great. So where are you calling from?
Well, I'm in Canada right now. I'm in Calgary visiting with my mom. But I purchased a house in Revelstoke 5 years ago, and I woke up to a beautiful story. And I stumbled across the knowledge of what Forrest Fenn was doing, and he was trying to hide some treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, the universe gave me the knowledge to solve it. And I'll fast forward it right now. I'm reliving a reverse treasure map at this point because the Coquelux Falls is just below Revelstoke and it's just above Arrowhead Lakes.
Mm-hmm.
And so the lookout point that looks at the Coquelux Falls, it's about 200 feet away. And there's a tree that's up mountain that has been marked with a blaze that Forrest Fenn created. And there's also a tree about 200 years old that's just off the Columbia River that's marked with a blaze.
Mm-hmm.
And then within the river itself, there's also another blaze that you can only see in October because the water is flowing too fast. And it's coming from a Glacier National Park. So it's a really elegant poem. And if you go to the Coquelux and you take a look at the lookout, you'll be 200 feet away. There's a little car park not too far away from it. And the home of the brown is a color. It's the color brown,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it's capitalized. And
So,
I'm just giving the knowledge.
Darcy, I'm going to interrupt for just a second, and that is for this reason. I don't want you necessarily to share your solution with the world because that's what happens when you put it on YouTube. What I'd like to know from you, from your perspective, is how many times have you been out boots on the ground?
Well, I've been out to the Coquelux. I scuba dived in the water. I've dropped down on to go adventure. I've been into the home of the brown, and what happens is that you can only find the box. The actual treasure itself in the trove has been dumped into the Coquelux River, which feeds into the Columbia River. So you'll never find his gold and the trove for 500 or 1,000 years until the dams are freed. And once the dams are freed, then the fish will be able to swim up the dam. So the trove itself is left for all to seek. So
And
if you find it, you find just the test. So that's the riddle. And
when do you expect to go back out to look for the treasure, if at all?
no, now I'm leaving a reverse treasure map. See, I already solved it. When I solved it, I was like, this is strange because I have the same birth date as Forrest Fenn.
Mm-hmm.
I learned about this story on Reddit, and my username was the Golden Child because I used to trade the stock market. It was global market management. So it was too much spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm just trying to lead people to Jesus Christ because the story itself is too beautiful. So it's like, I'll just leave the reverse treasure map, and then people can come out to Revelstoke and they can come to Canada. And what Forrest Fenn is trying to do is he's trying to bring attention to the fact that there's an abundance of gold in our national parks. It's 3 to 5 kilometers in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It was first found in the riverbeds, but the British monarchy got control of the gold. And then they went to the world and they loaned all the gold out to the world. And we had our first World War. But basically, people were fighting over Canada.
So hold on. I've got to interrupt again because I've got to get on to the next caller. But before I do, you've mentioned a couple of times that you're leaving a reverse treasure map. Where are you going to leave that treasure map?
Well, I'm doing it right now on your show. I'm telling you. The answer is in the Akokalux. Now, once you come up and you start researching it and you, like, get to the Akokalux Falls and you realize it can be solved as a fighter pilot or as a fisherman from the same location, and it's like like he designed it like an architect. So an architect has like many angles, and so the poem itself, when you start reading it and defining the words, there's many angles to that poem. And once you get to the Akokalux and you get to the town of Revelstoke, which is right above Arrowhead Lakes, and that's the one part that he wants to do is. His most exciting thing is the first arrowhead that he found. So now that they've dammed up the river of the Columbia River, you can't go back there and look at the Spanish ruins. And the town of Revelstoke is it's on 200 feet of sand, and that's where the Spanish used to be. And then when wars are fought, lies are told. So you don't know the real history of the land, but just understand that the Spanish found the gold in 1492. They protected it, and then the British monarchy found it again a few hundred years later. And Forrest Fenn is trying to bring attention to that. So all I'm going to do now is bring attention to it, and I'm going to be like Forrest Fenn as well. I'm not going to wait to be 90 to give my knowledge away.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it away a lot faster.
All right. So let me do this. Send me an email with, and I know you have a YouTube channel, and I'm going to assume that all this information will be made available on your YouTube channel, correct?
Well, I was in the process of doing it but I'm fighting depression, and then life just got me busy.
Okay, well I've got it. I don't mean to rush you, but I've got to get on to the next caller. So what I want you to do, if you please, if you really want to share this information with the world, is send me an email and give me a link to where when you share this information finally. And tell me where you've shared it, and that way I can announce it on the show, and people can go look and make up their own minds about this, okay?
Okay, I'll shoot you a video. If I shoot you a video, would you show it on your show?
I can't do that. Well, it depends. I'm not going to make a promise right away, but if it's good enough, yes, and if I feel like it's concise enough. It has to be concise. We have a short attention span, okay?
Yeah, I do. I'm a perfectionist. I'm trying to do a perfection, but you got to understand something.
Okay, wait. I got to finish this conversation because we're coming to the close of our show. We'll talk to you again. Send me that email.
Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you, Darcy. Bye-bye. Hang on.
All right. Thank you, Jeff Anschultz. And I'll tell you what, we don't play our little videos during the afternoon show, but we will play it tonight for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because we got some emails that are going to be worth reading.
It's a lot of fun.
Okay, so we've come to the end of the show. I'm sorry I can't take more calls today. I'm glad that we got the calls.
Let's work it out and
get
Copper
you on
Dan,
tonight. What's going on there? That was sad. I mean, you couldn't call us. We couldn't call you. The universe is somehow acting in a strange way, not like we didn't expect. So
maybe it's because it wants you to call tonight.
Yeah. So so we'll be back on at 7:00 tonight with Forrest Fenn Friday Fandango. Phone lines will open after we read emails and texts, and I don't have a lot of texts. We'll do the same thing if there is a point at which. If there's a point at which you want us to call you tonight on another topic, just send me a text message, 866-597-9901, and insert the phrase, please call me. And the reason I need that phrase is because the FCC needs, I need to have some indication that you've asked me to do that. That's why I'm asking you to do that. So we are also...
And that way you also know that you're being recorded when you call this show.
We're also going to open...
Which is also a requirement of the law.
We're going to open this box tonight. And the reason is you have to share in the experience because...
Toby's turned into a box.
This is what we bought with some of the Super Chat money that you guys have given us, and it's going to give us the opportunity to improve, yet again, the quality of our... Oh, Jesus Christ, it's heavy.
Okay. Well, we're coming up on the last minute of today's afternoon show. Have a good night and weekend. Don't think I can catch Fandango live tonight. I'm sorry to not be able to see you tonight, Greg.
Greg has to work. His boss won't let him do it.
Yeah.
We need to talk to his boss. Greg,
we
give me
appreciate you being
text
here in
me
the
your
afternoon.
boss's phone number, and I
No,
will
we're not going to do that.
call him.
No,
and
we're not going to do
tell
that.
him to free
Because he didn't
Greg.
say, please call me.
Free Greg. Yeah.
Free Greg. Everybody hashtag free Greg.
Have your boss send me a text message and tell me to call him.
We all have to work sometimes.
And I don't know whether you saw it, but Sophie's grandma sent us a picture on our Facebook page of Sophie, and she said Sophie thinks she's a movie star, and I posted that to our community blog, so take a look at it. It's just...
he's not working tonight. Maybe he's got a hot date.
Ooh, hot date. Well, call in with your hot date. Oh, wife time. Yeah.
See? Hot date with wife. Good for you.
Way to go.
That's right. And that's how we keep people happy when we want to take them boots on the ground later, by doing what they need throughout the year.
Toby
good
has
job.
turned into a box. I did not turn into a box. I've always been a box. Okay,
This is square. And so that blah 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 blah. We want to send out special things.
I got to tell you, let me interrupt just a second. I got to tell you, so Shelley and I have been working so long together that we have cues that we know we work with. And so for as long as we've been working together, and she's been on camera and I've been behind the camera, I give her one of two indications. One is just the word "and."
Uh-oh.
What? Is that you? Just the word and that's her cue to do her lines. But if we're actually in front and behind the camera, not like we are now, the cue is action. And so when you hear me say "and," that's what I'm doing to her. I'm giving her a cue, and sometimes I surprised her with it, and I think that was one of those times. So, and.
All right. So we want to send out a special thanks to all of those new viewers on Facebook. Another special thanks for Joe S. for his super chat at the end of our show today. Joe, make sure you ask a question or leave a great comment this evening, and we'll take a look at that then. We want to thank all of you in the room today, being very supportive of each other and understanding of the disappointment that we all can go through sometimes with boots on the ground and other parts of our lives, just having too much snow to even go anywhere. So we really appreciate all of you for tuning in, being a part of our chat room, and trying out our Facebook stream as well today. And for a Gypsy's... Oh, and don't forget, we're going to be back tonight, 7 o'clock, for Friday Fandango, and 2 hours of more fun phone calls, texts, emails, and righteous partying, whatever. We'll be here at 7 o'clock. Hope you tune in then as well. And for a Gypsy's Kiss, I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby Younis. We'll see you 7 o'clock tonight, and be careful what you ask for.